Welcome traders. In this video we're going to review a few more trades from today that I took, and again the purpose of this is not to give trading advice. It's simply to review the decisions and understand what my thinking was as I went through them. And that in and of itself is an extremely good idea for your trading so that you can understand where you've made your mistakes so that you don't make them again. Additionally, if you're a ZoneTraderPro customer, what I will do for you is the same thing that I'm doing here, and that is analyzing your trades and give you basically my opinion on what you did right, what you did wrong, and if you could have done something different. So with that being said, we'll look at the trades I took to get today. Again, similar to yesterday, I took a trade right after the open, and the chart on the left is the micro ES chart, so you can see the entries and the exits, and the chart on the right here is the full contract where I was basing my decisions on. So as we can see right in this area right here, I took the short trade and it very quickly filled for 5 points. I next initiated a trade here when I had a good distribution level. I added to it somewhere in this point right here, and then I added to it a third time up here, and the trade then started going for me. I had an average. My average was sitting somewhere in around here, I think around 269. So I then exited the trade here. My thinking to get out of the trade was this: we had entered a strong trend. You see that the software tells you, warns you in red that you are in a strong trend, and I saw this trading going on down here, and I was basically afraid of a bounce. And what I looked at is I looked at down here, and I saw that yes, in fact, they were accumulating them at a very high rate. So at this point right here, which is where I exited, I was comfortable in that as an exit. But immediately after that, you see what happens to the indicator is the indicator starts going straight up as price is going straight down. And what that is telling you is that the support is weakening. And I'll be honest, I didn't see this in real time after I'd made the trade. And then that probably affected my decision not to take the trade here, which was a broken reversal and a reversal trade. And probably the reason I didn't was the fact that I had seen this accumulation down here, and I probably should have taken it just based on the pattern alone that the strong trend had been broken, and thus leading to this broken reversal right there. That was a mistake, but it didn't cost anything, and we'll move forward. Here, I entered just a single contract because on the chart here, I had a special divergence. And you see that price immediately moved in my direction down to this area of support. And then I've got a long special divergence signal. And I basically took that off with about a half point of profit in this area right there. And that really was a good decision to have taken it off there. Now, we're going to see a divergence from what I saw here in real time and what was occurring here in the micros. The micros traded down to this point right here, forming this area of support, and then we had a tick divergence counter trend trade right here, which would have been a good opportunity to get short. But because price doesn't trade exactly the same on this chart as it did here, it didn't trade low enough to form another zone. I had the zone up here, and I didn't want to get short so far from this zone, and I don't really have any problem with making that decision. If I had been given this picture right here and this increasing ratio with the fact that it was tick divergence, it would have been a good trade to take. But what I was seeing on this chart, on my live chart, was that there was a 5-point gap, and once we've come through this area of resistance, I don't like trading in the middle right here. It's kind of a no man's land. And so I went ahead and passed on that trade. Now you see here, I went ahead and as price came through, I entered a short for 4.5 points. So you're wondering, why did I short that? Did I just take that because I shorted the first retracement? No, that wasn't the reason I did that. This is my standard trading chart here. And as you can see back here, we did have a no demand short signal. But as we got to here where I took the trade, we had the ratio increase from a 23 to a 70, and we had distribution divergence. So that was a trade in the direction of a strong trend. So the strong trend that we have right here is both a strong trend and a strong trend reversal. So I was given a divergence signal in the direction of the strong trend, and I went ahead and took that. So I took that and I took it for 4.5 points. I exited it at 375, which is right exactly at the zone, and I was very comfortable in taking that trade and exiting at that point. Next, we traded into a strong trend reversal pattern. I shorted 2 contracts right here, and really could have shorted a couple more, but I was waiting for maybe a few more ticks here, and went ahead and took that for another 4 points right there. In reviewing this, I was looking for basically the 5 points from this area right here, and as price was trading down, I didn't really have enough time in this area right here to move that target. So that's basically why you see the target right there. But really, there was a lot of room still left to fall, almost 6 points from that trade right there. Not until you see this ratio dipping right here, should you have been looking to get out of that. And that was basically my last trade for the day, and called it a day at 11 o'clock. In looking at the remainder of the day, there was again some excellent trades, even though it was trading within this pretty tight range right here. Now, what I like to do is I like to have this blue line on the chart. The blue line represents the mid between the high and the low, and it's usually around the area that the VWAP is. What I like to do is, if we have traded significantly down here, it's real easy to look to take a trade off the mid here and look for that continued sell-off. We initially had a trade at about 1207, went a little higher, came up. We then got divergence here, and they pushed it back down. We had a second trend trade here, but we didn't have a very good ratio, probably would have passed on that. Then we had a counter trend trade here right at the mid, and we had a good ratio going into that. So if you would have taken it for your 5 points, you would have been out of it here, and you wouldn't have had to sit in all of this mess that went on for the next 45 minutes. Again, price traded back to the mid, and at this point here, we were finally getting some numbers that gave us a good distribution ratio. And again, we had a good sell-off. Again, we had a trend trade here with a good ratio, another opportunity for our 5 points. And we had a reversal pattern here going into the close, again for another good 5 points. So if you were taking shorts up against the mid all day long, you were given opportunities to take some great trades with good distribution ratios. So in the analyzation of this in the trade performance, that was a total of $202.50 in profit with a total of 162 ticks total. I was profitable on all of the contracts, so that was nice. And if you look at the 2-day total, that comes to $583 and 467 ticks in that 2-day total. Now, of course, I want to remind you I am trading the micros, and I also want to remind you that the commissions aren't considered in this. But my feelings about trading the micros are this. Basically, I, like anybody else, can make an error in my trading, and that's the reason you go back and review. And sometimes we can make errors in our trading because of actual psychology of fear and greed. And what I'm doing here is I feel that I am personally making less errors because I'm trading the micros. I can more easily say that when I made a mistake, to pull that trade and not let a small loser turn into a big loser, not get greedy, look to extend profit at times when profit probably shouldn't be extended. In looking at my performance over the last 2 days, I feel that I've basically increased my performance while drawing down my losses because I'm not allowing the psychology of fear and greed take over. So it's a lot easier when trading the micros to say when you've made a mistake and not worry about making a mistake. For me, that gives me a good feeling when I'm trading and is leading to better trades with better results. So basically, once I've conquered this strategy, then that will be the time where I'll be adding contracts to this strategy, but with a total net profit of 467 ticks in 2 days, that's a tremendous number. Now, all I need to do is keep repeating it and continue to make the good decisions. I hope you've enjoyed this short video, and of course, if you have any questions, please be sure to give me a call. Take care and stay safe. Bye.